In the past videos of this guide, I've often told you not to think about scaling yet. That changes now. It's time to break out those rocket ship emojis. In this last step of our guide, we're scaling your marketplace into new markets. We'll go through important steps and topics like choosing your next market, creating a playbook, the funding options you have, and what's beyond. Let's get to it. Scaling a marketplace means expanding into new markets, meaning categories, locations, or customer segments. Once you've reached product market fit in your initial market, you have a solid understanding of what works and what doesn't. Next, you put all those strategies, and maybe some new ones, into use to reach product market fit in a new market. But do you have to scale? Not at all. Scaling is not mandatory. If your business goal is to create a profitable side business or a small niche marketplace, it's perfectly fine to keep to your initial market only. But if you're looking to grow your business more than your current market allows, this video is for you. Before deciding which market to scale to next, you need to think about how you want to scale. Let's say you have a marketplace for home cleaning services. You've now validated product market fit in your home city and you want to scale. There are 3 different vectors by which you can do that. 1. Location. This means your customer segment and category stay the same, but you bring your marketplace into a new area. You'd start offering home cleaning services in another city, for example. 2. Category. Your customer segment and location don't change, but you start offering a new type of product or service, like home repair services on top of cleaning. Or 3. Customer segment. Your category and location remain the same, but you start offering them to a new audience. How about offering cleaning services for businesses on top of individual customers? In practice, there will be some overlap with scaling by category. Scaling to business customers might necessitate adding new categories like industrial cleaning, for example. If your marketplace is not location-based at all, scaling by category or customer segment is a natural choice. But most marketplaces still scale by location. This is in part due to location being a more common initial constraint than category. Think about big players like Uber and Airbnb. Their core offerings, on-demand rides and peer-to-peer apartment rentals, have stayed relatively the same for the past decade or so, but in that time, they've become global businesses. Choosing your next market is no less important than choosing your initial constraint. In your second market, your primary goal is to get answers to these 2 questions. Can I repeat my success in a new market? And if yes, what is the minimum required investment to do that? As a general rule, the more your second market resembles your first one, the easier it will be for you to enter. Markets within a country or state usually have more in common than markets in different countries. Scaling internationally means you need to account for more differences, and that requires more resources. The things you should pay attention to when choosing your next market are, in a nutshell, market size, cultural differences, competitive landscape, technology penetration, and regulation. Let's look at each of these factors separately. First, market size. After you've conquered Edinburgh, for example, will you go to Inverness, Glasgow, or Paris? Generally, choosing a market that's roughly the same size as your first and nearby is your best bet. Next, cultural differences. They can be obvious, like language, but there are subtler differences as well. Joel Serra talks about his experience scaling Eatwith, a marketplace for culinary experiences, from Barcelona to New York. The incentives that the hosts in Barcelona were looking for and the relationship they wanted with us were very different than with the hosts in New York. The same goes for the guests. The dinners they were looking for, the experiences they were after, and their willingness to pay were totally different. The customers in your new market might respond to a different type of messaging style or marketing strategy. Levels of trust can also vary greatly between different industries or locations. And are people in your new market already familiar with the behavior your marketplace promotes, or do you need to educate them? Then there's the competitive landscape. In your initial constraint, you may have been the first player. Is the situation the same in the second market you're considering? Do you have the resources to take on the competition? How about technology penetration? Is your second market extremely online or offline? Do supply and demand use desktop or smartphone apps? How about their preferred payment methods? In one country, people might prefer credit cards. In another, they might use payment apps. Some industries might be firm believers in invoicing, while others are not. So your next market may necessitate some additional product development. And finally, regulation, which can vary a lot depending on location or industry. For example, regulation for controlled substances or certain types of labor like care or education. Or even more broadly, regulation for selling on 2-sided platforms altogether. To learn about the key similarities and differences between your first and second markets, conduct market research. It'll look similar to the pre-validation work you did in step 4 of this guide. Find potential users online and offline, interview them about their needs, and pitch them your solution. This time, you'll have a working marketplace to show them and real numbers to back up supplier potential. And finally, it's possible you'll find many promising markets, or maybe you've known which markets you'll want to scale to right from the start. But for now, you should only enter one of them. Your goal with scaling to your second market is to prove you can do it successfully and understand how much upfront investment you need to reach product market fit in a new market. Generally, staying within one country or state for your second market makes the scaling process more straightforward. Regulation is likely to be similar, cultural differences less pronounced, and so on. When then should you go international? Well, in some cases, your second market may have to be international. For example, if your unit economics only work in dense cities with large populations. Maybe there's only one such city in your home country, like car-sharing marketplace Drivela, which I have mentioned before. First, they conquered Singapore, a city-state. Their second market was Sydney in Australia. If there are promising markets in your home country, though, you're in no rush to go international. A US-based marketplace can pretty safely expand within the country for years, while a marketplace from Finland probably needs to cross borders earlier. And if your goal is world domination, you will eventually need to take the leap abroad. When you launch in your first market, you'll learn what worked and what didn't. Was some marketing strategy particularly effective? Was another one a complete bust? You'll learn equally much from scaling to your next market. What was the same? What was different? Turn these learnings into a playbook that includes things like budgets, criteria for promising new markets, successful growth levers, effective marketing strategies, and more. This playbook will help you scale into more markets, someday maybe even multiple at once. But remember that all markets are still different. Joel Serra puts it nicely, once you find the right go-to marketing strategy, whether it be through PR, bloggers, or Instagram, you can detail the exact steps taken to achieve success, and use that as a base when moving to other markets. But remember to adapt that strategy to the type of users you have in your new market. Remember Curtsy, the marketplace for secondhand clothes I mentioned a couple of videos back. Their initial constraint was formal dress rentals in southern US universities. The student culture there is built around events for which you need a lot of formal wear.
We were really able to zoom in on one school, even one sorority, to bootstrap the supply side and the demand side. But as we grew out over the next couple of years, we would launch at other schools that were similar to Mississippi, like Alabama and Georgia, and it would do extremely well, just like Alabama. Then we would try launching at a school that is slightly culturally different, like UCLA or even like Michigan. And it's less of a dress culture. There's less need for these unique dresses throughout the semester. And the idea just didn't fly there.
So you may need to adjust your playbook whenever you scale to a new market, especially when scaling internationally for the first time. At that point, you have a playbook built on domestic experience, but the differences are going to be bigger than before, and there will most likely be surprise costs. But the more you learn, the better you can predict success in any new market. Finally, it's time to talk about your funding options. Our recommendation is to keep funding to a minimum in the problem-solution fit stage, raise some funding for product market fit if you need it, and go for the big bucks when it's time for you to start scaling. If you want to regain full control of your business, I recommend bootstrapping and growing organically, or looking into non-dilutive funding options like loans or grants. This is feasible, especially if your total available market is smaller. Another option you have is to crowdfund, meaning collecting small investments from a large group of individuals and organizations. Marketplaces with strong communities are especially well placed for crowdfunding success. But if you're looking to go big, maybe even become a unicorn, venture capital may be the only option that can get you there fast enough before someone else. This means your total available market needs to be huge, and there will be tough competition. Bringing on VCs always means giving up some control of your business. VCs have the incentive to turn quick profits, so they may push you to grow fast. This is usually not the best course of action for marketplaces, though. So show them the playbook you've created and explain that you will hone your strategy and experience until you've reached liquidity in the market you're in, and only then will you scale to new markets. A savvy investor, especially if they have previous experience with marketplaces, will understand and not push you to grow too fast. That's a wrap on scaling to new markets. Once more, the steps are: 1. Scale to one market at a time. 2. reach product market fit in that market. 3. Create a playbook of what works. 4. Repeat until world domination, or whenever you've reached your business goals. Your goal is to prove you can scale to a new market successfully and learn how much it costs. So decide your next market carefully. You'll likely want to do some market research and consider how your second market differs from your first. Collect all the best strategies and knowledge you've learned when scaling to new markets and turn them into a playbook. This playbook is also something to present to potential investors to show them you have a plan and know what you're doing. This has been the final step to our guide on building a successful marketplace. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. The next and last video concludes the guide and sets you on your way to build your own marketplace platform.